guys, it's Yolanda here from My Pretty Brown Doll, and I wanted to come on today and do a eyelash tutorial. For those of you who have my doll pattern, if you don't have it and interested in the doll pattern, I'll leave the link to get the pattern below. But for those of you who do have it, there have been some questions about how I embroider lashes onto my dolls. And so this is just gonna be a quick tutorial on how I embroider lashes. I'm not gonna say my way is the only way to do it because I'm sure there are many different ways to do this, but this is just the way that I embroider my lashes. So as you can see, I already have a doll head made up here. The doll head is pretty much stuffed and she has eyes, but note that the backs are not on the eyes just yet, so I can still move the eyes around just in case I don't like the placement, or if I felt like the placement was a little off, I still have the ability to move the eyes around. So, and I do this with every doll that I make. I do not put the backs on my eyes until almost till I'm about to close up the head. It does make it a little harder to put the backs on, but just in case, because once the backs are on, it is almost impossible to take them off. And so for that reason, I choose to wait until pretty much I can't wait anymore before I put the backs on my eyes. So like I said, head is stuffed, eyes are in place for now, and I just have some cotton embroidery thread in black because I do my lashes in black, but you can have whatever color you want. I think I got this from Michael's. Like I said, it is a 100% cotton embroidery thread, and then I just have a yarn needle or embroidery needle and some scissors. Now you may also find embroidery thread like this. This is how it normally comes. You'll see it in Walmart or Michael's or Joann's or pretty much any craft store like this. And this is fine to use as well. I choose not to use this only because it comes in strands of 6 and I have to pull it apart because I only like to use 3 strands if I'm using the kind that comes like this. So I normally don't use this kind because I'm lazy and just don't want to have to pull it apart. But this is fine as well. This is also 100% cotton. It's fine to use this as well if that's what you have. But like I said, mine comes on this little roll. It's already split, so I don't have to worry about splitting it or anything like that. So basically, I take the embroidery thread and we're going to go ahead and just thread our needle here. And this is a little trick that I found that works sometimes and sometimes it don't. So to fold it in half, it makes it easier to kind of pull through. And I really don't have a length that I choose. I just kind of look at it. If it looks about right, looks like it's enough, then I'll just use that. But I do keep it double stranded. So my lashes are, I don't just use a single strand of it. I do leave it double stranded. And so we're just going to set that to the side. Now, I take my doll head and I kind of turn her somewhat basically upside down so that the opening is facing away from me. And then I am just simply going to let me turn it back around first and just take a look at her. And I kind of look and think, where do you want your lashes? So I kind of want them to come off the side right over here a little bit. So I'll turn her back upside down, and then I'm just going to take this needle, find a good place here up above that eye to insert it, and then we're going to just come out, back out at underneath the eye, but back out at the bottom of it. And we're going to pull this, but do not pull it all the way through. You want to leave a tail there. And then all we're going to do, you can flip her back around. So this is coming out of the bottom of her eye. And then you can take this and pull it. Can you see what I'm doing here? So it's coming out at the bottom. I'm going to take this and kind of pull it back around, not all the way around, but just back up to the top. And then we're going to stick this yarn needle right kind of back in, not into the same space that the tail is coming out, but right next to it or right beside it. And then we're just going to come back out at the bottom of her eye again. And then when you pull that, as you can see, she has one lash. So now what we're gonna do, so we have it coming back out at the bottom. We're gonna do the same thing again. We're just gonna bring that back around to the top, and then you kind of have to decide. Now you can come this way, or you can come around the eye so that you can lay it at the other side. So you see, if you come all the way around, it will lay really nicely right to the other side of where you already placed the lash. But you make that choice. You can either come back the same direction that you went, and you can lay it to the right of the eye or the lash that's already in place, or come back around and lay it to the left of that lash. I think I want mine to the left, so I'm going to lay it this way. And again, just find a good spot that you want it to come and stick your needle there, and then just pull it back out at the bottom of the lash. And when you pull it out, so you can kind of see where it's laying there. Okay, so as I was saying, it may be a little harder to see because I'm doing the black on the brown, but hopefully you can see that she has a lash there and a lash there. And then if I turn her back this way, I'm trying to get her in the light, you can see that she has the lashes. Now you can stop there if you wanted to and just leave it with the 2. I like to do 3, so I like to at least have 3 on mine. So you're basically going to do the same thing. You have the yarn needle coming back out at the bottom of the eye, so you basically just make a decision. Do you want to come back around this way and lay that to the right, or do you want to come all the way back around this way and lay it to the left? And that's just a personal decision. Like I said, you can always turn her back around and just kind of see what that looks like for you and whether or not you think that's cute or not. But I personally like it coming back around this way and laying here, because that's more of where I wanted the lashes to be. So what I'm going to do is, again, now, and as you notice, I don't know if you've noticed, but I am holding the eye in place with my thumb. The eye is not going to go anywhere, but because I am like tugging and pushing yarn underneath it, I do kind of just want to hold it in place. So I am holding the eye in place with my thumb. But again, we're going to do the same thing. So I've come around back to the top. I'm going to insert my yarn needle, find a good place to insert it here, and then we just want to come back underneath the eye but through the bottom. And so, I kind of try to find a place where you're still not like the end of the yarn is still going to be covered by the eye. And so that's it. So I'm just gonna, because I'm using double strands, I want to make sure that both strands are pulling through, and it looks like one was trying not to. But anyway, I got both of those pulled through. You can always, again, because the embroidery thread is a little bit lighter than the yarn, you can lift it up so that it's more noticeable with the end of your needle. But there we have it. There's her lashes. Quick, easy, simple. She has the lash. Nothing really hard about that at all. Basically what I'm going to do now is just take this and just kind of weave it through some of the stitches here. Okay, so as I mentioned, what we're going to do is just take this in now and just weave it through a few of the stitches here. But the great thing about it is, because we were wrapping that yarn around the eye, it's still not going to be, it's pretty much secure and in place, especially once you put the back on. It's really going to secure its place when you put that back on, and those lashes are not going to go anywhere. But just in case you want to make sure, like I said, just weave it back and forth a couple of times through your stitches. And then once you do that, I really just do mine about twice. You can then just cut this off. So just cut off the end here, like tug it a little bit, and then just cut, and it's gonna fall into the stitches, and you won't even be able to see it. So that's her lash. And then I do the same thing with the tail that was left here. Just tug it a little bit, and then you can snip it right off. Like I said, especially once you add the back to the eye, that lash is not gonna go anywhere. Now, say you made a mistake and you didn't like the way they came out. Here's the great thing. Like I said, because the back is not on the eye, all you would have to do is pull this out and you can take those lashes right out and do them again. That's the great thing about it. Now, like I said, I do like to take the end of my needle and just lift them up over the stitches a little bit more. Now, of course, I could use a thicker, a thicker embroidery thread if I felt like it, so that you could see it more. But honestly, those look great just like that to me. And so all I'm going to do now is just do that to the other side. Do the exact same thing to the other side. Now, here's the thing. The two lashes are never going to come out exactly the same, but they're not supposed to, because yours are not exactly the same. The same way you have an eyebrow that doesn't always look like the other one, your lashes are not exactly the same. So hers are not going to be either, but that's just part of her personality. But if you use that technique, you'll get some pretty close that are, they're similar and they look good. So yeah. If you have any questions, definitely leave them below. But that is how I add my eyelashes. Like I said, if you're interested in the brown doll pattern, you can click the link below. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.